back to Betty. I'm your host, Cynthia Thompson. I want to ask you all a question out there. Have you ever wondered how and what you need to do to really set goals in your life to achieve the things that you want to do? Well, you're in luck. Today, my guest is a young man that is a close friend of mine named David Young, and he has come up with some A, B, C's, and D's of how achieving the things you want to do. Thank you for joining me today, David.
Thank you, Cynthia. Glad to be here.
But David, before we start with all these things that you're going to share with us, tell us just a few things about yourself.
Well, I am the president of Surge Performance Systems, which is a coaching, training, and motivational speaking business. And my goal is just to help folks achieve what they want. So today, the ABCs and D of achieving what you want is one of those programs.
So let's make it easy. Let's start off with A. I guess that's the best place to start with A, huh?
A.
So what would A stand for?
A is about that goal, Cynthia, about that problem, about that issue that you may have in your life or we have in our life that, you know, we kind of put it off to the side. And it's about that issue, about that goal. Oftentimes we'll see an issue in our life or a goal, we put it aside, and that's where it stays.
Yes, on the back burner.
It stays on the back burner. And what I propose is about that situation, let's act on it.
So A is for act on it.
It's about that situation. It could be act on it, but it's about that situation, about that goal. And here's the problem with inertia. The law, one of the laws of physics says a thing at rest will stay at rest, right? Until something is acted upon it to make it move.
That's true.
That's kind of like a simple way of saying, I think, the first law of physics. If we don't act, that situation, that goal, that problem, that thing will just stay there. So until we act upon it, there's nothing gets done. So I like to call this one action in about that goal is the joy of confrontation.
Okay.
Oftentimes we see a problem or a situation and we don't want to confront it because we don't want to deal with it, right?
So how is that a joy?
Well, it's a joy because it brings stuff out. You have a disagreement with your spouse or your boss or your best friend, and you kind of just let it go in your head for a while, and it stays there for days and weeks, and before you know it, it blows out of proportion, right? Until we confront it, which it may be not even an issue, but until we confront it, talk about it, it's not out there. So how can we deal with a problem, a situation, or a goal we're not achieving if we don't confront it? So I like to call it the joy of confrontation because it brings it out there. It's like the joy of cooking, right? You heard that book?
Yeah.
And that other book, The Joy of...
Okay.
Right. So
that other thing.
That other thing, right? So why don't we make confrontation joyful in a way, because now we're bringing it up to the surface that we can deal with it. So that's one technique in the about phase. One of the other techniques is oftentimes when we have a goal, let's say the holidays are coming, so we're all going to put on a little extra weight.
Yes.
And in January, we're going to probably want to lose 5, 10, 15, 20 pounds, whatever. So oftentimes we'll say, well, I don't want to be fat, or I don't want to be heavy, or I don't want to be unhealthy. Well, we're focusing on the negative.
Okay.
It's not what I don't want, it's what I want. So if I focus on what I want, then I'm more apt to make goals, situations, doing things that will solve that problem. If I focus on what I don't want, guess what? Where's our mind go? In that area. So if I tell you, Cynthia, don't think of a blue elephant. Now, don't think of a blue elephant. What are you thinking about?
A blue elephant.
Right. It's the same thing. If I don't want to be fat, what are you thinking about?
Being fat.
And when you think about being fat, there's those, oh, well, maybe I'll have a chocolate milkshake. Maybe I'll have a burger. Maybe I'll have a cake. We're not thinking about what we should do. We're thinking about what we shouldn't do. So that is under the situation. Focusing on what you want and instead of what you don't want. And the final phase is you got to be specific.
Yes.
So if you say, hey, I want to lose, well, some weight, between 5 and 25 pounds. Well, that's a big gap, right?
Yes, it is.
That's a big gap. And if you don't give yourself a time frame, like in 3 months or in 2 months, you're leaving so much room for error. So being specific would be, I want to be 20 pounds lighter. Say I'm 190. I want to be 170 by March 15th, 2015. That's a specific goal where your mind can grasp onto that, and you can start making plans. So that's the first step in the ABCs and Ds. It's about that situation. It's the joy of confrontation. It's you got to move, or you'll have that inertia problem.
Right.
And we want to focus on what we want instead of what we don't want, and we have to be specific.
Wow, you know, let's take a short break while I process all of this, because when I first thought you were going to say A, I thought it was going to just be one word, but you've given us so much more. Okay, David?
It's a mouthful.
Yes. And we'll be right back, okay?
Thank you.
It would be safe to keep your distance until the secret that makes you smile.
Reliable sources say that chicken soup has found their way out of this year's dangerous, but they are returned.
Getting closer to nature can get you closer to your family. Go to discovertheforest.org.
When some people struggle with their mortgage payments, they become frozen, petrified. Not knowing what to do, they do nothing. But the people who do something, the people who take action, are far more likely to get the most positive outcome. Making home affordable is a free government program. Call now to talk one-on-one with a housing expert about the options that are right for you. Real help, real answers, right now.
Back to Betty, I'm your host, Cynthia Thompson. I'm here with David Young, and he's educating you all and me on the ABCs and Ds of achieving what you want. Now, when I first went on break, I said, I thought the A was going to be one word. I didn't know it was going to be a list of things, but you know, everything that you shared with us made sense. So let's go to B.
Right. B is a big one. Because B stands before you, blank, blank, blank. So before you, what do we typically do when we have a problem or a goal? Let's say the economy.
Oh, yeah.
I can't buy that house because
They.
We tend to blame. So B is before you blame anybody else. You have to look within.
Ah, okay.
See, when we blame other people, we blame things or situations, what happens is we become powerless.
Oh.
We're saying the power is outside of us.
And we can't make any changes because of them or
Because
that.
of them, right. You know, it's the Republicans' fault,
Yeah.
right? Or it's the Democrats' fault. Or it's the economy's fault. or my mother gave me big hips kind of situation, right? And when we talk like that, we tend to give the power to someone else. So when we blame, it's really a powerless position. And we've got to change that. We've got to make sure that we look within first. So what can I do? And that brings power to us. There's a theory called cause and effect.
Okay.
Cause is I can do this, or I can have the ability to do that. So when we live at cause, if we looked at it as an equation, you had C and you had E. If we're on the cause side of something, it gives us power. It means we're in charge. So I cause myself to be educated. I cause myself to be lighter. I cause myself to be a good host on TV. Or the other side of the equation is the effect side. And that is what people have done to me. I'm this way because somebody did something to me, or some reason or something affected my life in such a way that this is the way I am. Okay, if we live on the cause side of the equation, it gives us power.
Okay.
If we live on the effect, meaning somebody did something, we're powerless. So that's one theory, that if we always look for what we can do, it gives us the power to move forward. If we look for blame, we lose our power, and we give it to that thing or someone else.
So how do we change that way of thinking? What would you tell someone to help them to change the way they think about, they see themselves that way?
I would say this, and the power of questioning is such a powerful way to get people to really think about what they want, what they want to achieve. So if I say to you, Cynthia, if you want to buy a new car, let's say, I'll say, well, Cynthia, what's stopping you?
Maybe it's not the right time of the year to buy a car.
Okay, it's not the right.
Some people say that. Some people say I can't afford it right now.
Okay. So if it's not the right time of the year, when would it be a right time?
In my opinion, I don't know if this is true, I think at the end of the year is the best time to buy a new car.
Okay.
Before the new ones come out.
Okay. So if it's the end of the year, so what will you commit to, Cynthia, between now and the end of the year?
To buy a new car?
To buy a new car.
I would need to start saving money.
Start saving money, all right. And after you started saving money, how much would you need, do you think?
I don't know, maybe $1,000 or so.
$1,000, okay.
It's been a while since I bought a car.
I think it's a lot more than that, but
it is.
let's say $1,000. So for you to have $1,000 by December 31st, how much money would you get to save a week?
I need to put back X amount of dollars each week.
All right. And in your situation, can you do that?
Yes.
You can do that. Okay. So could you take money out of your paycheck and you have it taken out by the bank or something of that nature to get that ball rolling? Could you do that?
Yes.
Well, fantastic. See, now what we did was we took you from an effect side to a cause side. Okay, you could say, well, it's not the right time of the year, but we talked about when the right time is, so we kind of nailed that down. Okay, now we moved into steps. Okay, so what would you need in terms of money? You told me that. How will we break that down? So now we've given you power, we've given you you're on the cause side of the equation to reach that goal. But oftentimes we'll say, oh, it's not the right time of the year, and we leave it there.
Yes, a lot of people do that.
Exactly.
Then the right time comes and you're not really ready.
You don't have the
you
money.
haven't prepared.
That's right.
So this method that you share or sharing with us, it works.
I think it does.
I think a part of it is all about being honest with yourself, right?
Exactly. Oftentimes when we look at a situation, we think of many things we can do. I'm all about taking 3 or 4 steps in any situation, narrowing it down, and taking action. We can go with the 24 steps of being successful. Guess what?
That's a lot.
Right. Around 6 people are like, what is 7? What is 8? What is 10? So if we can nail it down to 3 or 4 steps, right? Because frankly, all we have to do in life, right, is to be born and die.
Yeah.
Everything else in the middle is up to us, right?
This is true.
So why don't we make it as simple as possible? So my whole thought on coaching, on motivation, on achieving what you want to help clients is to break it down into simple steps. The fewer the better.
That's true.
We're smart people. We'll fill in some of that stuff. But just like this methodology, it's about that situation, right? Before you do anything, right, take action.
Right.
Get on the cause side. Be powerful, right? So these are just 2 steps
Right.
in the 4-step process.
So now that we've done A and B, C. I'm curious to see what you're going to say about C.
C is committing to your resources. And what resources do you have? Many of us in this room have different degrees, have different training,
Right.
have different backgrounds that in this we could fill up this room with so much intelligence and technology, but we don't because we don't tap into it. In other words, you have life education skills, you have skills from jobs, you have skills from seminars you've gone to, your undergraduate degree or graduate degree. All this training, what can you commit to help you achieve your goal? So let's say we want to, again, we'll use to lose weight because
It's that time
it's
of
the
year,
holidays.
right?
So maybe you love to dance. Maybe as a child you did tap dancing, you did jazz dancing. So you don't like to run and go on the treadmill, but you like to dance. So guess what? In fitness, maybe to exercise, you can dance.
Yeah.
Right? You can do Zumba classes. You could just put on the radio and just shut that
Just
door
go
and
for
just go for it and dance for 15, 20 minutes and burn calories. This is a resource that you could commit to that's an inner resource, meaning that you already have that inside you. Public speaking, Toastmasters.
A lot of people are afraid of public speaking.
Right. But if you are a Toastmaster and you attend to classes, you have that resource because you've built that over time. So there are some things that we have to we'll commit to in terms of the internal resources we have. Education, training, natural gifts, those things.
So you have to make a plan and stick with it, right? Is this
Yes,
what you're
with
saying?
what we have, what can we commit to that we have already? And again, education, training, seminars, natural gifts. Some people, let's say you want to earn extra money and you have a great voice and you would sing in church and people would just clap real loud for you. Why not take that voice and start marketing yourself outside? Maybe at clubs, maybe at certain situations, maybe go to the producer and do a holiday CD or something like that.
Wow.
That's the resource that you have internally already that you can use. But oftentimes we don't try to bring them out because we don't think that this resource we have is marketable. So that's an inner resource. Then you have outer resources, and that's associations, clubs, friendships, relationships that you can tap into to help you. Weight Watchers,
Yes.
groups, other groups that are trying to, people are trying to lose weight. Dieters Anonymous, if that's such a, but there's certain
Maybe
things.
Eaters Anonymous.
Right, Eaters Anonymous,
Yeah.
right. but something that's outside of you that you can commit to help you achieve your goal. So there's inner resources and then there's outer resources. What can you commit to?
Wow, you know, you have given us a lot of information. Let's take a short break because we're almost out of time.
Okay.
And I have a feeling D might be a little long too. I just have that feeling, okay?
Gotcha.
So, I got this new family, and I don't know what it is about this one, but she can't seem to put down that toy all day long. Tap, 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 tap. Oh, and she even talks to it. She talks to that more than she talks to him. What's up, bro? Nice shirt. Who's she talking to? Her mom? She talks to her mom a lot.
It's not his new group of friends. It's not the video games. It's not the neighborhood.
Mom, do I have to go to school today?
The biggest threat to your child's future could be you. Every day they miss, even in middle school, puts their graduation at risk.
Hi, welcome back to Betty. I'm your host, Cynthia Thompson, here with David Young, a very motivational speaker. And he's educating me, and hopefully you're getting some pointers too on how you can achieve what you want to do. Now, before we went on break, we had finished with A, B, C. Now we're on the last one, D. I have a feeling when I think of D, I think of death, but hopefully that's not what D is for.
No, we don't want death, no.
So D must be something really good.
Right.
Okay.
D stands for do.
Oh, I didn't even think of that.
What action plan will you do? And when we think of an action plan, we think of the how, when, why, where. Okay, so again, let's go back to the losing weight. Everybody can identify with that.
Yes.
So, what will you do? Okay, so let's say I want to lose 20 pounds. I would say, well, let's look at what. Well, what is I want to lose 20 pounds by March 15th? That's the what. Well, how? Well, I'm going to exercise 4 days a week.
I'm going to do exercise.
Right, you're going to do exercise, right? And then it's where? Well, you can join a gym. I exercise in my garage in the morning. I get up at 5:30 in the morning, 4 or 5 days a week, and I exercise in my garage.
It's still dark.
I know it is, and it's cold sometimes.
Ooh, okay.
But that's what I'll do. Okay. And then it's why? And that's really the biggest question in the do process is, why do I want to do this? If it's not for me, if it's not going to be something that's compelling, I'm not going to do it.
That's true.
I'm going to give up on it. So why in that process of do is really important. What we have too is, you know, when we have a goal, when we have an objective, when we have something that we want to achieve, or want to deal with, we got to make it fun.
You got to make it fun, or you won't do it.
Exactly. So, put some music on when you're exercising, or watch. You like reality TV shows, I understand. Put on your reality TV show, and you can do Zumba with headphones. I don't know, something like that. But you got to make it fun. Because if it's not fun,
we're not going
to do it. And life is full of constant things that we have to do that are not so fun, like paying your taxes and washing your car and cleaning your house, that doing something that's fun will stick with it.
You know, David, you have given us some valuable information, the A, B, C's, and D's of achieving what you want. Whenever you do your motivational speaking, who is your target audience for this?
Well, you know, anybody who wants to achieve anything, and that's really all of us. That's what's great about this, is that we all have goals, we all have aspirations, we all have things we have to deal with, whether it's cleaning our house on the weekend that we kind of put off, cleaning that garage, talking to that friend that we've been blowing off for whatever reason, saving to buy a car and go on vacation, the A, B, C's, and D of achieving what you want will get you there. You know, it's about that situation, right? We got to make sure that we address it. Right? The joy of confrontation. Remember the inertia. It'll stay there. It'll grow, and we got to focus on what we want. So that's the about. That's the A, right? And before we blame, right, cause and effect, we got to live on the cause side of the equation. Okay, that's the B, and then C is what are we going to commit to? Inner resources, outer resources, and then finally, we just have to do the program.
You just got to do the program.
We just got to do it. Just do it. Am I allowed to say that? I guess not.
Somebody did say that, didn't they? Well, Debbie, you have given me some valuable information. You know, I think I'm going to put this plan to action, the A, B, C's, and D's of achieving what you want.
Fantastic.
You know, I think you should write a book on that. Maybe it's in the making.
It may be. I'll have to follow this procedure to do it.
You have the plan, so you can do it.
Thank you.
And I want to thank you for coming on my show, too.
Thank you very much. It's been my pleasure.
And I want to thank each and every one of you for watching The Better You here on Public Access 21 every Wednesday night at 6 p.m.